when you see like just a little smile in the eyes between them, you're like, oh, that comes with a whole other handful of drama for her to figure out. These little moments, and they go, whoa. What she's really asking is, can I trust you? There's a lot that starts to happen pretty quickly in Brookfield.
Hi, everyone. I would like to welcome to the podcast today, Sarah Fisher. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, so happy to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, of
Sarah
course.
plays Sarah plays Hannah Lawrence on season 2 of When Hope Calls. So thank you so much.
Oh, of course. No, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Let's just dive right in and talk about the project itself. Can you tell me what was it about this project that made you so excited to be a part of it?
There are a few things that come up that got me really drawn to the project. I think one is I love playing characters that are really different from me. Hannah and I, we might have a few similarities, but for the most part, sort of how just our overall energy is very different. I've said this in a number of interviews at this point, but just that I think I always describe her as a bit of a coconut. She's got the hard shell on the outside, soft on the inside, and it takes time to sort of get your way in. And she comes to Brookfield with no intention of staying. So she kind of keeps that shell, which to me is just, the energy and how she comes across when she first enters and comes into Brookfield. I just find that we're so different in so many ways. And I love portraying a character and bringing someone to life who is so different from me. And I think another thing is I've never done a time period piece before. So the fact that this is set in the 1920s, and I mean, I'm wearing like this amazing wardrobe. Hair, makeup, wardrobe are incredible. The makeup's phenomenal. The hair, I've got like a billion extensions, and I'm like got this mermaid braid going on, and so it's been really exciting. I mean, it got me to dive into the specifics of like, at that time, what did it look like to be in the position she's in that time, wearing the certain outfits and things that she's wearing? How would that change how she might like sit at a table or how she enters a room? So that's again, it's just all that work is what we love, and it's been really fun to dive into.
I bet that's got to be amazing to do something
Yeah.
that's so far different than like
Oh
normal
yeah.
modern day, right? So can you
Oh, it's
talk
so
about
exciting.
yeah, can you talk about when you heard about the role of Hannah and kind of what that audition process was like?
Yeah, so I auditioned for the show. And I currently live in LA, but I was visiting home, which for me is Toronto. So I was actually in Toronto at the time taping, and my sister was the reader for me, and we did the audition together. She's not an actor, just an amazing sister, and she helped me with the audition. And I was supposed to. I heard a call. It's so funny in the acting world because sometimes you do a tape and all of a sudden 1 month later someone's like, you booked it, or your agent calls and says you've got a call back, and half the time you're like, what did I get a call back for? Like, we don't always remember because so much time has
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah.
And so I get this call that I have a chemistry read with Cindy Busby, who's lovely and amazing, who plays Nora. And the funny thing is, when we got on that call, there was about 8 other people involved, because often people from the network, producers, writer, a lot of people are involved, and they all have a part of the creative process in choosing whether or not the role belongs to you. And there was actually a huge storm on set because Cindy was on set that day. Because my character comes in the 3rd episode, so they were already filming, and
Wow.
I never really got to do the chem read because it just kept not working. And they were so supportive and amazing, and Cindy was so sweet. She reached out to me and was wishing me good luck. And I hear like they are so excited about you, and it's all great. And then I just kind of heard that I booked the job and that I'd be flying to back home to Canada to film in North Bay for a couple months. So yeah, it happened really quickly, and
Wow.
then I fell into the world of Brookfield.
There you go. Wow, that is a
Yeah.
quick turnaround. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And that you got to do that, sort of got to do that chemistry we read with Cindy. So that's neat to hear about.
Yeah. Yes.
So Hannah makes her first appearance on When Hope Calls in episode 3. We just
Yes.
finished seeing episode 3, which was so good, by the way. Loved it.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Oh,
it
good.
lots of things going on, and it was, high
Yes,
energy, kept going. I felt like episodes 1 and 2 were kind of like really making a shift and a transition into what Brookfield is now. And so then we
for
get this,
sure.
right? And so
Yeah.
episode 3 had a bit of a different feel to it. So it was neat to see Hannah show up in episode 3, and this episode revealed that Hannah had been in Brookfield previously. So, what do you think her experience was like back then when she was in Brookfield before with her Uncle Ray?
Oh, I think it was magical. I think, her whole childhood she was riding horses in fields. She was in this beautiful, sweet town that's warm and bright and colorful um I think her uncle was such a father figure to her. So I think the kind of chats and just time that she got to spend with him was just made her heart smile. So I think there was so much innocence. She was around all the animals um and I think it just slowed down. I think her life, the busy and like the hustle and the city life in St. Louis, I feel like she got to slow down and be present and even at such a young age, but I still think life can be busy and moving, and I think she just got
Mhm,
to have real time with him, which is why their relationship kind of just blossomed into this
yeah.
beautiful friendship also. And again, kind of this fatherhood thing where he really, I think, resembles a father figure to her. So I think it's only good memories for her. But I think she's been so far removed for
Mhm.
so long that I don't think she expects the for Brookfield to pull at her heartstrings the way that it does.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. I think we catch a glimpse of that even when she arrives and is sitting there and doesn't respond, like to get out of the carriage, we'll call it, right? Is it a carriage?
Oh yeah,
A-
that's what I'd call it.
And she's
Yeah,
just kind of in a daze for a minute.
totally.
And I imagine, riding into town, she's just kind of absorbed and overwhelmed all of a sudden. So that's what
Oh,
I took from it.
absolutely. Well, I'm so glad that you did. That was right on. Yeah, I think you're right. I think she looks at the town, she sees the bakery, she remembers being a little girl, like going to the bakery. Yeah, but again, because her Uncle Ray isn't there, um, I think there's so many mixed feelings, which is why she's not coming in all smiles and happy-go-lucky. She's coming in for a purpose and a very specific one, and then to leave. So
Mm,
I don't think she necessarily wants it to pull her in.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So we learn that Hannah has a business in St. Louis.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Hannah owns a dress shop company, a clothing company
Okay.
in St. Louis, and she is a hustler. She is such a hard worker. She's creative. She's passionate. We've got maybe some scenes coming up where you get to see just like a little piece of her creative side.
Okay.
And I think she's the kind who just kind of wants to be in her own space and kind of let everything flow onto the page because she's very much an artist in the way that she's in the fashion world. That's sort of a part of it. And yeah, I think she's worked really, really hard to be in the position
Hmm.
that she's in. So I don't
Hmm.
think she has any intention on slowing that down. And again, she's in like the world and the hustle of having your own company and what that looks like and building it from the ground up, and she did that, which speaks so much to her character, and she's just a powerhouse. So, and I love that about her. I think
Yeah.
it's something I just love about her. She's got this kind of drive to her. um yeah, so and I mean, it speaks volumes with, I cannot take obviously any credit for this, but the wardrobe department, they're just brilliant. They have these beautiful outfits like this. I wear this like, it looks like a beautiful curtain. It's like this thick, heavy coat, and it's this beautiful kind of like deep red purple color. And it just looks like royalty. Like I
Yeah.
don't know where wardrobe pulls and finds all these outfits, but they're doing such a great job. And yeah, Hannah just she pays attention to detail,
Mhm.
and it's very clear, and you see it. You can really see it. So yeah, it's been so exciting. Again, like the wardrobe, she really is a standout piece, and that's sort of something that was talked about with hair, makeup, and wardrobe was we don't want her to look like she fits in,
Hmm.
right? She doesn't
Yeah.
really come into Brookfield and have this natural warm glow kind of thing that Brookfield has. She
Hmm.
kind of comes in with a very different energy and look than
Hmm.
everyone else. So we all made it very much a creative decision and choice to make sure that she really doesn't look kind of like everybody else.
Hmm.
Which I love because yeah, it's she doesn't really belong right away. She does, but
Yeah.
she doesn't. And you can see it. It's there, the contrast is really is apparent and is effective. I think it really does the job of making it clear that she doesn't really fit in here yet. You know,
And it
because
wasn't, well, even one of the outfits that she had on watching in episode three, one of them wasn't like really like flamboyant as far as colors, but just the way that it was designed and the cut. There's one moment where she turns and she walks out of a room, and just that jacket that's a little bit longer, and it's
yeah,
so different than what any of the other ladies are wearing, and so it
totally.
worked. And the detail up here around the neck.
Oh, I love that piece. Yeah, when they were like, we're gonna put this little brooch. I'm like, of course you are. It's beautiful. It's stunning. I don't know where you found it, but it's perfect.
It worked. So
Yeah,
what
totally.
else? Yeah, what else do we need to know about Hannah now that we've seen her for one episode? I'm sure there's more to come that will unfold. Is there anything that you could add to as far as what we need to know about Hannah?
I think I think a lot is gonna unfold as the episodes come out. There's so much that happens that I can't wait for everyone to see. I was reading the scripts on the edge of my seat because there is so much action packed
Uh-huh.
in, and that's all I'm gonna say. But
Yeah.
there is so much action in every episode. I loved, and then it got more and more exciting with how it was all kind of cut and how it all these different storylines kind of are woven in together is really really cool. Um, but yeah, I think for Hannah, I think this is kind of a given and something I feel everyone knows to an extent, but something that also makes me find her something I find very interesting about her as a character is that she's really got the city and the country girl. She's a bit
Mhm.
of both. Again, her childhood, so like her roots are
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
But then she's been raised and she's been so far removed and she's lived the hustle like grind city life. So she kind of has a bit of both. And you'll see these moments where she remembers what
Mm.
being on a horse feels like and how where that
Mhm.
takes her emotionally and you'll see moments where she's like, how does this thing work? What's going on? Like you just you see this constant struggle for her of like, do I fit? Do I work here? Do I remember what this was like? Does
Mhm.
it feel the same? And she's so back and forth in that. And that's again, those moments were so exciting because she'll get lost in a moment where she connects with Uncle Ray. And those moments were some of my favorite to shoot in this season because if that relationship wasn't clear and wasn't there, then none of the rest of it would make sense. So
Yeah.
I knew it had to matter so much to her who he was to her for her to be pulled in this way. And so some of my favorite scenes were the ones where she finds something and they're so specific. Alfonso, the writer, just brilliant. He did such a great job on finding these very, very tiny, specific sounds and things that she sees that draw her back to her past,
Mhm.
to that relationship. And I love how specific it is because life is that specific. So it's so beautiful that, she's not just looking at the area and thinking of him. She sees this one little thing and she goes, "Oh," and it gets her. So yeah, those were some of my favorite scenes to shoot.
So we talked briefly about her riding into Brookfield on the carriage, but can you talk a little bit more about Hannah's first experience coming into Brookfield, for those that haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet?
This is one of my favorite scenes I got to shoot. This was my first scene I ever filmed, I believe, which was me in it just all it said, you get a call sheet the night before, it tells you what you're going to be filming the next day. And it said Hannah rides in on donkey carriage. And I was like, yes, she does. And I was so excited because who doesn't love a donkey? Donkeys are
Mhm.
beautiful. And so I get to set, and there you go. There's a donkey. His name's Kramer. He's been working in the industry for 10 years. News about Kramer, just a fun fact. He hates going uphill. He doesn't like going up. We would always have to reset. I'd be off the wagon, of course, and we'd reset him. but this guy's been working for 10 years. He needs to retire. He's brilliant and he's exhausted. And so we filmed all, a couple scenes, not to overwork him, just of me coming in on the donkey carriage, which is so funny because we needed it to be specifically facing the camera and heading to camera.
Mhm.
So, and I was like, I don't really know I've ridden a horse before, but I was like, I'm in a carriage. I don't really know how to get it to go in a certain direction. So sometimes me and Kramer, we'd be going off to the forest and they're like, where are you two going? We're like, I don't know. And we would just
That's awesome.
be heading. So that was my first scene. It was a beautiful one at that. It was so fun. Kramer crushed it. And the reactions were just hilarious. I mean, the cuts into Wendy Crewson, who's brilliant and wonderful, and Nick Bateman, who's wonderful, Wyatt and Tess, those
Mhm.
characters, they both see me and they're like, oh my God. Like, it's just such a great moment. And it's great because it's so not how Hannah would like to have ridden in. Like,
Yeah.
that isn't
Yeah.
really, that's not how she saw that going down.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
so fun to watch someone struggle through that.
But it was really neat to see Hannah's ingenuity in that, she's stuck in Brookfield. She needs to get out to the ranch.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks a lot to her personality that she didn't really care how she got there, but she was going to find a
Yeah.
way.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. 100%. Yeah. She's a go-getter, whatever that means and whatever that looks like, even if it means
yeah.
throwing your legs over a donkey carriage.
Yeah. So filming was already going on when you arrived. That's right?
Yeah, they had
What was
been
it
filming, I think, for just over a month by the time I got there.
So what was that like coming onto a set that was already moving and shaking?
Yeah, honestly, it was wonderful and it was so easy. It was such an easy because everyone was so nice and welcoming and loving and it felt like they'd been filming for so long. But they had only been there for just over a month. So, everyone was there was definitely a flow on set, which is great. I mean, it's so wonderful when you can hop onto set and everything just moves well. Like, what
Yeah.
your day is going to be like. You're in and you're out, you know exactly what it's going to be. So they were already in such a great routine, which was great. But yeah, it's different. I'm used to kind of starting off and getting used to the few days where we're all trying to learn each other and how we work, to get into a flow and a routine. And I feel like
Mhm.
you get plopped into it, but I couldn't have been plopped into a more easily run set. It was just, everyone was lovely and welcoming and so nice. And it was just so easy to feel comfortable and just very happy to be there. And yeah, so no, everyone was so lovely. And Cindy brings Susie, her little
Oh,
pup,
yeah.
set. So I met Susie like immediately, and Susie's fabulous and like the queen of the whole set. She's great. So yeah, I just went in, met everyone really quickly, and it was fun because Nick Bateman, who plays Wyatt Parker, who I do a lot of scenes with, it was his first day. So I wasn't the
Okay.
only one coming in. There was a few of us coming in going, "Is this your first day?" "Yeah, you?" "Yeah, cool." And it just, we didn't
Yeah.
we kind of started off together, which was nice.
So let's talk about Hannah and Wyatt's first meeting. I wouldn't say that that they necessarily hit it off right away. So
I would agree.
talk a little bit about their first interaction and what might be going on between the two of them at that point.
Yeah. Well, I think what's so fun is, interestingly enough, Hannah and Wyatt are a little bit similar. They're
Mhm.
leaders. They're powerhouses. They're very opinionated. They're strong-willed and minded. Like, they're quite similar. They're both very loyal. Um, and they both are very loyal to Uncle Ray. But I think they both have such different ideas of what that looks like and what that means and what their, priorities or focuses are at this time. Hannah's lived an entirely different life in a different place. So
Mhm.
what she thinks is a good decision and a good move, Wyatt may not agree, but he's been living in that world. So they both have these different ideas of what this whole process of, Uncle Ray having passed, what do we do with his ranch, with his horses, with his cat, like with his life and his world here? What do we
Mhm.
do with that? What does that look like now? And Hannah and Wyatt have very different ideas, and they definitely butt heads because neither of them are afraid to share that. So they're both
Yeah.
like, no, I think this is what it should be. And they're both kind of tug of war of like, you know, they both have such a big say. They're both so invested and involved. Hannah, of course, she's been away from it for so long, but I mean, in her mind, this is under her name, and this was where she grew up. So while she's been out of the loop for a while, this still feels like a really important big thing that is a part of her role that she does get to make decisions on. But Wyatt's the one who's like, well, I've been here, and this is what I think. So yeah, I Nick and I talked about it actually very early on. Was that we love a slow burn because we
Yeah.
do, right? We love
Yeah.
all of
Oh,
all
yeah.
of the different yeah, all the different ways it can look, but we love a good slow burn. And Nick and I were so excited when we saw that our characters, it's a real slow burn to the point where when you see
Mhm.
like just a little smile in the eyes between them, you're like,
Mhm.
oh, and that's what we wanted to capture. And
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
Nick and I were really excited to dive into that um, relationship and into the fact that, we're just going to capture these really tiny moments where they both give in because neither of them want to. And there's clear
Uh-huh.
chemistry there, but neither of them want to give into it, which again makes it just that much more satisfying when they do or when they have this beautiful, since you see it in episode 3, there's this beautiful moment where she sees Uncle Ray's grave for the first time and she's just kind of sitting in it. It's kind of the first time she realizes he's really gone, which is why it hits her so
Mhm.
much. And she allows him to kind of just take up space with her and just be there.
Yeah.
And that, not much needs to be said. It doesn't have to be that they have this whole big open conversation about it. They don't, but she allows him to sit in it with her. And that
Mhm.
is a beautiful thing. And she's pretty, she tries to hold it in as much as she can. She tries to kind of keep
Mhm.
herself um, but he's okay that she doesn't. And they both, it's just this beautiful little moment where you get, that they're both vulnerable and they just allow themselves to be in it safe. And
Mhm.
that's really
Mhm.
cool. So yeah, I love those are the moments we get most excited about with between the two of them.
I love that when she asked him to take her to the grave, he didn't hesitate, was willing to do it.
Yeah.
And even though they had both, have this tough exterior, in that moment, he sees and knows how important it is for her,
Yeah.
and gives her that space, but he is right there. Can you talk a little bit more about that moment? Because I imagine that that moment probably even helped them to maybe take off a layer of that exterior already in that moment because it was
Yeah.
a very moving moment. It was so good.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And no, yeah, I think it was one of my favorite scenes to shoot because
Yeah.
I love again it's so different and exciting to dive into as an actor is just how Hannah kind of presents herself with her head a little bit held up, her back a little extra straight. Like she's just kind of, she whoops, she presents herself a certain way. Um, and so yeah, I think that was a scene I was so excited to film because you do get to break that wall down a little bit. You get to see what's underneath it. And she is just like a beautiful person, soul who just loves and is very loyal and who's passionate and creative and you get a like to let like peek in just a little bit to the other side of who she is. And the guard that she doesn't really want to let down in Brookfield because she has no intention of staying. So she's not looking to do that, but she can't help it
Hmm.
because,
Yeah.
it's Uncle Ray. So that scene was so I was so excited about, and I knew it was really important for the
Yeah.
development of the character. So I had to make sure that it delivered and that even though she wants to just like let it all go because it feels like it's kind of the first time she's getting to do that.
Hmm.
I knew it was important for who she was to, even when he leaves, she tries to kind of hold it. She tries to just fix, try to not and I love that because it's so heartbreaking because in real life
Hmm.
we do that all the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we really hold that stuff in so much. So I felt like it was important to not just let it all pour out of her and for her to try, even if they're leaking out
Mhm.
of her eyeballs, for her to just try to just not go there.
Yeah.
As hard as it was for her. So but thank you for saying that. That's so nice. It means a lot.
No, it was really good. It was great.
Thank
Um,
you.
After that moment, Hannah gets an offer from Tess for the land. So we know that Tess wants the ranch and she confides in Wyatt about it. And so it's interesting. Can you explain why she felt like she could trust Wyatt with that information and trust his opinion as to whether or not it was a fair offer for the ranch?
what's cool about that moment, yeah, Tess comes in hot with an offer. She's like, "Let's go. I'm ready to
Yeah,
take it." Love that Hannah doesn't bite. Hannah's like, I don't know. I
yeah,
know business. I own
yeah.
a company, and I'm gonna
True.
check on this." But
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing is, I think what she asks for from Wyatt, to me, it's less about it's less about the actual finances and is this or is this not a good move.
Yeah,
And what she's really asking is, can I trust you?
yeah.
And he gives her a very honest, very real, genuine answer that I think is the best answer he could have given. It was so much more telling than throwing numbers at her. And so that's sort of a moment where she goes, okay, she sees him a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And she realizes he really is here for
Yeah,
Uncle Ray. And
yeah.
he's not going to budge and he's not going to be in it for the money. Like he is in this for the heart of what this
Mm-hmm.
ranch means to him. So, yeah, so I think that it was a very telling moment in their relationship. And it seems like this kind of subtle, quick little thing, but it was actually quite emotionally heavy in the way of like this was going to go one way or the other. And he shows a bit of his loyalty, and that means a lot to her. So yeah, she builds this trust in that moment with him, which is, yeah, so such a it's a turning point. It's the start to that shift for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I loved it that, like you said, he didn't throw out a number in a way, told her it wasn't enough, but his response that Uncle Ray would say, that it's priceless was so very telling.
Yeah,
And you
for
see
sure.
that Hannah kind of sits on that moment and what he's just said to her. What's she thinking in that moment?
I think that's a heartstring pull where she's like, oh, why did you have to say that? So yeah, I think she's very torn. I think
Mhm,
she already has been feeling the feelings. So she's already in this emotional, vulnerable state where she doesn't really know what this all looks like. I mean, she wasn't expecting him to pass away. She was going to go visit. And then now he's not there. And what is Brookfield and this ranch without him and the horses and like the love in the air? How does that change now that he's gone? And so yeah, she's already in this very vulnerable state that for him to make it clear that he would never want this to not be with you. Like that's what
mhm,
he wanted because that's what he did. He
mhm,
could have given it to me to sell, but he didn't. He gave it to you. And it just is, I think it almost just brings Uncle Ray back in a way where she just feels like he's right there going, this is what I want. And now she's just so much more conflicted. I still don't think her mind is going, I'm going to stay. I
yeah,
don't think that's where her mind is, but I think she goes, but then what does this mean? And what does this look like? What do I do with that? So
mhm,
I just
yeah.
think she's just digging that hole going, now I'm just more in it. Now I just don't, I still don't have answers and I'm more lost than I was before.
Maybe her cut and dry plan is not so cut and dry now, right?
Exactly. 100%.
So I know you can't tease a whole lot, but can you share anything that we can expect out of Hannah and Wyatt's story this season?
Ooh. The- ah, Between Hannah and Wyatt, expect a slow burn. But it's I love it because again, you'll notice the smallest little smirk or something, and it's like, oh, like it makes you because I feel this, I love the film and television world and watching movies and shows and we love the slow burn because those little moments are so packed because you're like, oh, I feel like they've been wanting to do that for so long, but they're both not willing to go there and protecting themselves or whatever that looks like, which, we're all human, we get it. And yeah, and I mean, Hannah and Wyatt, it's so clear throughout the season that they're both where they are, but they start to lean in. And so you're going to
Mhm,
see a lot of lean in moments that are really powerful. But for the season also, again, without giving much away, it's full of romance and action and how those two things are beautifully and perfectly like woven in and out of each other and how they
mm,
come to life, especially nearing the end of the season, is I haven't seen it. So I'm just as excited, but I'm so excited to see how that comes out and turns out because in the script and for the little pieces here and there that I've seen, um, I think it's going to make for a really, really exciting season.
That's great. Well, that's something exciting to look forward to.
Yeah.
Um, there was a really kind of we've had a lot of comedy so far in the first
Yes.
three
Love
episodes,
comedy.
but we had a great little moment with Hannah when she goes into her uncle's house and has a
Yes.
visitor. And so that was pretty funny to kind of navigate. Hannah's a little bit out of her element in that moment. Um,
Yeah. Totally.
Can you talk about how that then kind of it gives her an opportunity to leave and go to the orphanage and she gets to meet Nora? Can you talk a little bit about that moment?
Yeah. Well, so Hannah's visitor is a raccoon.
There we
Um,
go.
which, adorable. I think they're very cute. If you've ever seen a baby raccoon, they're just the cutest little things. But, in your home, not so much, a little less
No.
cute. So, so she and then all the lights go out, just everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Again,
Yes.
just a very clear sign that it's been a while and Hannah has no idea how to survive and exist in this space that is just so different than the city life that she's been used to. So
Yeah.
she runs over to the closest place she can find, and she ends up at the orphanage with Nora answering the door. And I think the most beautiful thing about that is these two powerful women just showing up for each other. It's
Yeah.
such a beautiful moment because I think Hannah's totally taken aback by it. I don't think she was expecting for that kind of warmth and that welcome. I don't think she
Hmm.
thought that was what she was in for.
Hmm.
And then, she stays for dinner, she stays for the night. Like she just, Nora just shows up as if she was like her long lost sister and goes, "Here's everything you need." And I think
Hmm.
Hannah's just like very used to hustling on her own and getting things done. And I don't think she's as comfortable
Yeah.
even accepting all of this. So to come in and to be treated in such a beautiful way so quickly without Nora needing a reason to be this nice to her,
Hmm.
I think it's just a beautiful moment between these two wonderful women and powerful, strong women who are just both figuring things out because they both have kind of found their way to Brookfield. So they're just kind of helping each other out. And they have a few in the season, a few just beautiful little moments where you just realize there's this trust that just exists between them, even if there's no
Yeah.
reason for it to be there, even if they've just met, they just have this trust that exists between the two of them, which is really really cool, really special.
That's cool. Yeah, I love it, and I think I've got this right. There's that moment where she gives her the when she's getting ready to go to sleep, gives her the blankets and all of that. And isn't there a conversation where Hannah learns about that Nora is a lawyer and that she is staying there? And it's almost like I think in that moment when I was watching it, I thought, ooh, right there, there's the we're powerful women, we have these things in common. Brookfield is not our home, and it's like it almost creates that immediate bond between the two of them.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a
Okay.
great scene. It's so fun.
When Hope Calls has it's got its comedy, it's got its romance, it's also got its fair share of drama. So what challenges or conflicts does Hannah possibly face in Brookfield in the future that
Well,
you can
that
say?
I can talk about. But what I can tease, which we kind of already know, but it's going to be pretty clear that Hannah has a really big decision to make with these two different worlds of hers and where does she belong and what does she choose.
Yeah.
Um, we may have ideas of what the choice might be, but just because she may or may not make that choice doesn't mean it's not going to lead to 50 billion more things that
Yeah.
come up, because that choice doesn't mean she just kind of melts and finds her space. She now has to sort of redefine her
Mm.
life a little bit because if she makes the decision we think she might, then what does that look like? What does that mean? Who are her people? What does this mean about her company and what she's been working so
Mhm.
hard
You're
for
right.
so long?
Yeah. I hadn't even
Horses,
thought of that.
that out. Yeah, so even if she does make that choice to stay in Brookfield, that comes with a whole other handful of drama for her to figure out. So, um, yeah, so I think it's just either way, it's sort of never ending for her to relearn what this part of her looks like,
Yeah.
at this age
Yeah.
and at this time. And yeah, so it's a whirlwind for her.
So I asked John McLaren, who plays Sam, I
Yeah,
asked
he
him,
loves, yeah,
he's fantastic. And I asked him
yeah.
this question. So I want to ask you as well. As you were reading through the scripts with what we know that's coming up, was there something that as you're reading it that you were totally like shocked and surprised on that you're like, oh, this is a big deal? Did you have one of those moments?
I did. I don't know if I can say it. I did. A lot of it is wrapped up and honestly, the season finale is, I'll say that. The season finale is what I keep kind of coming towards. There's such an amazing buildup. And an episode or two before, there's so much, again, action, romance, comedy. Like it's kind of sprinkled with all these different elements. And I will say the season finale, I can't wait to see because if I've seen clips and the clips are amazing. And when I think of how it's all going to be tied together,
Yeah.
it's going to be a really exciting episode. So I'm very excited about the finale. I will tease that. So I think
Okay.
it's a great episode to stick around for because leading up to it, there's a lot that starts to happen pretty quickly in Brookfield. And again, how that all kind of ends up is pretty great. So I think they've just everyone involved in the creative process of and the writer, Alfonso's so brilliant. Um, I think there's just really bold, amazing moves that they've made just in the decisions of where the season goes, and I'm very excited for people to see it.
That's awesome. So could you give us three words that would describe Hannah's journey
Yes.
for the next few episodes?
Oh, I find these so hard. Um, I'm gonna say three words. I'm thinking of like I'm thinking of like not melting. That's not the right word because I'm thinking of like she kind of she finds these moments where she fits, maybe
Okay.
where she kind
Okay.
of fits.
Yeah.
So
I
like
get
I'm
it.
thinking of like she kind of loosens up in these certain
Okay.
moments where she gets that tightness kind of loosens.
Okay.
So there's I don't know what word that would be, but
We'll get
um
we get it. We'll get it.
home like
Okay.
she
Okay.
starts to feel maybe not completely at home, but she starts to feel a piece of it. She starts to dip the toes in and become a little more comfortable with what that is. So
Okay.
that I would say, I'm going to say spicy because that's in my head. And I'm going to say that because there are so many, again, little like dipping toes in the romance world, but
Okay.
spicy because it's not a full lean in, but she starts to dip her toes and she starts to open herself up a little bit more in that way. Um, and I'm going to say, um, there's definitely a more interesting word to say, probably, but I'm just going to say strong, strength,
Yeah.
bravery, because she makes um she makes some pretty big decisions and she trusts her gut, maybe trusting her gut. Um, she makes some really big decisions for herself and her uncle, and she doesn't care who else that affects. She just goes,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I think the right thing is.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes some pretty big changes and pretty big moves pretty quickly. That just kind of
Wow.
hit. So I'm gonna say, yeah, trust and gut. Those words are all over the place, but
No,
hope
that's
that's
why
three of
you get
yours.
three. That's why you get three. So going back to the spicy, I mean, why not, right? I
Why not?
hear I hear you're a bit of a movie buff that because
Yes.
we've watched a lot of these interviews. You guys have been amazing to really
Yeah.
um, share about the show, but also share about yourselves. And so back to the spicy, back to Wyatt and Hannah. Let's
Uh-huh.
talk rom-com vibes. What movie do you think that their relationship, what kind of vibe do they have?
You know what? I'm, oh no, that doesn't, well, I'm gonna say this because it's the first one that popped in my head and I love this movie. I'm gonna say How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And I'm going to say it because
I was totally thinking it. I'm
yes,
not
because
kidding.
I think there's so much tension that they both are so aware of that they're not going
Yep,
to really talk about.
yep.
And again, then they find these little moments and they go, whoa, okay, that's
Uh-huh.
something I didn't know was there. And then the other one goes, whoa, okay,
Mm, Hmm.
That's a new side. And it's like these moments just keep happening till they again eventually fall and lean into it.
Mm.
So I'm gonna say How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I think that's
You
the
guys just
one.
need you just need a love fern, and it's a
Right?
done
That's
deal.
it. That's it. That's the secret to all of Love Fern.
Just
Beautiful.
need a love fern. Okay, so what do you hope people get out of watching season 2 of When Hope Calls?
You know, I think two main things. I think one thing for me is just why we love film and television is because we get to escape into this other world for a second. You know, life can get stressful, early mornings and work and this and that and you know, it can we can start feeling really tense. So I think to be able to get excited to like dive into the town of Brookfield once a week and to watch a show that just makes you feel good. It makes you
Yeah.
feel happy. It makes you feel at home. It makes you feel like you're a part of something. I think that's why we love film and television because we get to be a part of something, which is so cool. Which is, you know, as an actor, that's one of the reasons I love it so much. And I think a little more specifically in terms of Hannah is I think just knowing that you're one decision away from changing your life.
Mm.
You can, you know, if I think, you know, we're all human, we're all in it together, and then, you know, you can have moments of reflection, moments of realizing that you're craving some sort of change. And I think for Hannah, um, she makes these big decisions, and it's never too late to make a decision that makes sense for you, and that can completely change your world, and it can change your world in a really beautiful way.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, just never feeling like you're stuck and that you are your own powerful individual human being. You can make decisions that can lead you in a new direction, but one that could really take you to some a place or a person that changes your life. You just never know. So from Hannah, I think, yeah, I think that that's something that she's learning and experiencing. So yeah, yeah,
So
I think
good.
those are the two things.
So good. So I've asked this question to the other cast. Little fun thing
Uh-huh.
here. If you could time travel, which again, John says, how do we know that he can't? So we're just going to pretend. If you
Love
could
that answer.
time
That's a great
travel back
answer.
to Brookfield for real, what is one
Mhm.
modern item you would bring back with you?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. I mean, I feel like the boring answer is going to be my phone just so I can reach out and connect with people. But I guess that wouldn't really be a thing because you live around all your people. I think your family might be nearby, your friends. So maybe that's a boring answer. I'm not going to lie. The other thing that did pop into my head was my like hair tool that I use. But well, keep in mind that Hannah's hair just happens to be in this amazing, fabulous braid. I don't know how she makes that every morning. Don't know what that means. So maybe she doesn't even need it. Um, you know, I will say my only other thing that popped up in my head, I'm obsessed with crepes. It's like my favorite thing in the whole world.
Oh,
And
yeah.
for my birthday, my sister got me a crepe machine.
Take it.
So I take it away. So I think maybe you know what? I'm gonna stick with the crate machine. I think that's my answer. Or what John said. Who says I'm not heading there tomorrow?
So, well, and I think it's really funny if you brought all of you guys together, you would now have a refrigerator from
Oh, very good.
Chris. And of
Nice.
course, he's going to put steaks in it. Like that's a
Just a
surprise.
bunch of steak. Yeah, a bunch of meat.
And John is bringing the coffee pot. So he's
Love
set
that.
there, but you can provide the crate. So
Yeah. That's it. That's all you
you
need.
guys are set. You're set, right? Can you think of any fun behind the scenes moment that might have happened during filming this season? And I know
You know, I
sometimes, like Chris said, I can't tell you because it'll give the scene away, but
I know there's only so much I can say. What I will say, just as a general thing, is it's just everyone's so great. It's so much fun. What Nick and I will always say when we get asked what are some fun behind the scenes is him and I tend to like a lot of the same movies. We like a lot of the same comedy movies.
yeah.
So we always say this so that we don't give stuff away. But we'll be on set right about to film and we'll start throwing out quotes. And when
Mm.
one of us says one, usually the other can fill it because we know the movies so well. So we'll just be throwing movie quotes back and forth that are just complete ridiculous comedy that we love, and then it's action, and you know we're in. So it's we have a lot of fun with stuff like that. But yeah, nothing that won't give anything away. But again, even just being on, actually, I can give one away because this won't give plot away. There was three horses. There were three of us. And one of the horses, it was me and Wyatt, and he's supposed to tell one of his ranchers, hey, I need you to like essentially gallop in a field. I need you to go gallop in a field. But he goes, I
Mhm.
need you to and then like help with the herd the cows or whatever. Like, I need you to go. And the guy's supposed to rush in the field. But you know, not all of us. I've horseback. I rode horseback a long time ago, but not all of us have who are on set. And this wonderful actor who had actually I'd worked with before. He's so great. He's on this horse that I don't think he had been on a horse before. So he's supposed to like get the horse going and like kind of like do a little trot away past the camera.
Uh-huh.
But there's three of us. The camera's behind with the back of our heads and the horses and the cowboy hats and like the big open field and the cows. Like it's beautiful. And instead of galloping into the field, the horse just goes and just does like a slow motion walk around us and then faces the camera, which is so not and like we, we must have done this scene 4 or 5 times, and every time they'd be like, go ahead, and he'd be like the horse just didn't want to go. So that one we were laughing so hard
Oh,
because there was nothing that could be done. The
no.
horse was just not today. We were like, okay, you work hard, we get it. So there's stuff like that when you work with young people and with animals, it's such a blast because you never know what you're gonna get. There's so much spontaneity in that, and it's such a great way to work.
Oh my goodness. That made me laugh. So there you go. Um,
Yeah.
Sarah, when you're not doing projects like this, what are some things that you like to do?
Oh man, so many things. I enjoy, I've started to enjoy dance. I've really started to enjoy dance. I danced when I was a kid. I wouldn't
Oh,
call myself a dancer, but I can dance. But I have a couple girlfriends who are dancers, and I just love, and I've never sweat more in my entire life. Like going to the
there you
gym
go. Yeah.
is great, but going to a dance class is amazing. So that's something I've started to get back into, and I've loved it. I want to go a lot more because it's just been mostly hip hop dancing. I just think it's such a
That's
blast.
awesome.
Yeah, and it's so fun. So yeah, that's something I've started doing. And then hanging out with my family, friends, my boyfriend. I just love spending time with people I love, and going to movies. I go to movies a lot. AMC A list is a great thing to be a part of, and
There you go.
my boyfriend find ourselves sometimes we'll be there. You nice. We'll be there like 2 or 3 times a week sometimes. Sometimes
Mhm.
we'll see two movies, movies in a week, and yeah, it's awesome. So I'm constantly wanting to get out there, and especially supporting independent film is so great. So
So
yeah.
what's something that you do when you're looking for like creative inspiration? Like how do you get the creative juices going other than dance and hip hop?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I think part of it is watching movies, watching good work, watching other actors work. Um, I mean, I've taken some courses before that have really scared me in a really good way, like some improv and stuff, just because I think growth comes from being in that discomfort, and that discomfort is really scary. So when I can do a class that makes me incredibly anxious, I know I'm doing something right. So even just as a human being, let alone an actor, I think the more you widen your experiences, and again, you dive into pools that scare you, I think just helps you grow as a person and helps you grow as an actor. So,
Good.
um, yeah, so I think just trying to every now and then I'll make sure I throw myself into something that's new or something that scares me a little bit. And yeah, watching great work, watching movies and TV,
Mhm.
television, and yeah.
Speaking of watching movies and AMC list, there is this great movie that I saw twice at the movie theater. And
Oh,
then I saw it on Super Channel. And then I saw it on Amazon Prime. And then I saw it on Great American
oh
Family.
my gosh.
And that is Someone Like You, starring Sarah Fisher.
Well,
What a
thank you
great
for watching
what
it.
a
That's
great
amazing.
movie. It was
Thank
it was
you so much.
I went and saw it with a friend and then I told my family, I'm like, we gotta go again. Can you talk a
Oh,
little
thank
bit about that
you.
movie? Because it was such
Oh
a
yeah,
good movie.
happily. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I absolutely I loved being a part of that movie. I mean, one, Nashville is beautiful. If
Yeah,
for anyone who hasn't been, go to Nashville, go
yeah.
line dancing. It'll change your life. It's beautiful. No, it was such an amazing project. When you're a part of a project that is created like ground up from a beautiful, a story, and then having a family come together to make it happen. Like when you have people who are so invested and involved and want to tell the story in the right way, it becomes such a passion project, and everyone on set becomes so involved. Karen Kingsbury was on set, which was so wonderful because when you have the writer who, the story came from her brain, her heart, her words. When you have her on set every day, crying with you, laughing with you, it just
Mm.
changes the energy of the set because the story came from her. So to have her involved in the way that she was so impactful to everybody. Tyler Russell, the director, was so brilliant, had such an amazing vision, and just was so supportive every day, sent a billion texts of, I'm so proud of you, you did so great today. Like that was just so amazing. As an actor, the one of the things that drew me so much and got me so excited to play a part in the movie was that I got to play too.
Yeah.
I've never done that before. And I was so, again, I love a challenge, and I was so excited to figure out how I was going to make sure that these two women had some, again, a heartstring tied, had something connected where you get that they come from the same place, the same person, but that they are still like in completely different worlds. And so again, how does that change how they laugh? How do they both um walk into a room? How do they argue? How do they tell someone they love them? Like I just to dive so deep into what makes them so different, and how can I make sure I bring that to life. And I and it's so funny because that was something Ricky Masler, the casting director, it was actually her idea for it to be one person. It wasn't always going to be one actor. Um, but again, I'll throw it as well. So many people involved are so wonderful and brilliant, but the hair, makeup, and wardrobe team did such a great job. I
Yeah.
mean, the second I'm in like an Andy little like blazer and skirt set with her like little like preppy shoes and socks versus like a beanie and an oversized t-shirt, it changed everything. And my blonde
Uh-huh.
hair changed
Yeah.
everything for me. So it was they all did such an amazing job, and that helped so much because some days we'd be diving back and forth between two different characters. And so that was something I was so excited to do, but that was also helpful in making sure that we really did bring them to life
Yeah.
and that they were still different. And yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and such an exciting thing to go out in theaters and watch it with people in the theaters and see how they're responding. Like it was a really magical experience for
Yeah.
sure.
It was great. I
Thank
love
you.
there's always like a few, it's kind of like I liken it to my experience with The Notebook, how when I go back and I rewatch The Notebook, I will watch like 85% of it, and then there's that part that I don't watch. Well, there is a part in someone
Yeah.
like you that's like, "Oh, I got to fast forward," right? But
Oh yeah,
we
for
know.
sure. We
But
know.
we know. But, no, such a good movie, such a good story. You did a fantastic job, so
Thank
it
you
was
so
good.
much.
It was
Thank
good.
you.
Well, it has been
Thanks, Stephanie.
so fantastic to talk to you, and it's been so fun to meet Hannah during episode 3. Can you tell us how we can continue to watch When Hope Calls season 2?
Yes, gladly. 100%. To continue watching season 2 of When Hope Calls, we are every Thursday, we will be on PureFlix. And every Sunday, if you're in Canada, you go to Amazon Prime under Heart and Home. So we'll be there. Super Channel will be there. And we'll be on Great American Family, 8/7 Central. And thank you so much, Stephanie. This has been so fun. You're wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.